And here we go.
Welcome to Rick's Corner. I got Doug Brignoli back. You guys have asked about him so many times, and he's a busy man, and he always catches me during lunch hour. So I rush home to work with him.
That's why you want to eat that apple pie.
No. I've been really so good on my diet.
Oh,
it's ridiculous.
okay, good.
Except today I had a patty melt and cottage cheese.
That's not bad.
That's not bad. No, it's not bad.
No.
I just needed something other than tuna fish every day.
Yeah,
it's
all
kind
right.
of old.
And tuna's got a lot of mercury.
Yeah, but I had a Lincoln.
So you're off the hook.
I'm off the hook. No mercury. My first car was a Mercury. So that's okay.
So you've been there, done that. You don't have any more mercury now.
It's my favorite car.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to talk about cross education.
Cross education.
In fitness.
In bodybuilding.
In bodybuilding.
Yeah, but, cross education, are we ready to go? Are we doing this?
Yeah, we're here.
We're here.
They were there.
Cross education basically means that your right side talks to your left side and vice versa. And so when it comes to education, i.e. coordination, what that means is that if you teach something to your left hand, your right side learns it a little bit. Not as well, but vice versa, a percentage of it. Well, the reason it's called cross education is because of the learning thing, but it also is applicable to muscle building. They did a study a number of years ago where they took people with broken arms. Half of them were in a cast and didn't exercise their good arm. The other half were in a cast and did continue exercising their good arm. And what they found was that the people that took the cast off after the surgery that had been exercising their good arm had less muscle loss in the bad arm and a faster recovery.
I think I've heard this before.
And the people who didn't exercise at all lost more muscle in the bad arm and took a longer time to recover.
Yeah.
So what they've discovered, and they've actually been able to pinpoint like an approximate percentage, 13 to 15% of what you do with your good arm crosses over to your bad arm, even if your bad arm does nothing. So what does this mean? That means that there is something going on systemic every time you work with individual limbs, right arm, right leg, left, And so this encourages us to do more dumbbell work because basically you're getting more than 100% value if you're doing dumbbell work. If you're doing barbell work, you're getting 100% on both sides. But if you're doing dumbbells, you're getting like 113%
That's true.
and 113%.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's another thing that is interesting as an application of this, and that is something that I call unidirectional focus. So we know that when you're doing one arm at a time, it's good. But let's just say you're doing standing side raises, which, by the way, isn't the best deltoid exercise. It's good. But nevertheless, it proves the point, and that is when you're doing side raises, we usually do them 2 arms at a time.
Yes, that's true.
Right? And we do that because we think it saves time. I mean, 1 arm at a time takes a lot of time, right?
Yes, yeah.
Now, let's just for a moment make a comparison. Let's just say you're going to do 2-handed dumbbell curl.
Okay.
And you're going to compare that to a tricep pushdown.
Okay.
When you're doing a 2-handed dumbbell curl, your brain is thinking up, up. When you're doing triceps, it's thinking down, down.
Very true.
What if you were doing a curl with the right arm and a push down with the left arm, and you're trying to split your focus between an upward focus and a downward focus?
I can't imagine.
What you'd realize is that you can do it, but you're not as strong on each.
No, not at all.
Okay. That's called bidirectional focus. Focusing your attention in 2 different directions. When you're doing a side raise, that's exactly what you're doing. You're going left and right, which are opposite directions. It isn't until you get to the very top that you're actually going up. In the beginning, you're going out to the sides. So if you make a comparison of how much weight you can use with a standing 2-arm side raise, and you compare it to a seated 1-arm side raise, you can do much more weight with a seated 1-arm side raise because of the unidirectional focus that goes to the right.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the subject here. We're talking cross education, left, right, and the benefit of making sure that your brain is focusing on one direction at a time.
I did side laterals 1 at a time for many, many years. I'd hold on to the bench.
They're much better.
Do 1 at a time, yeah.
Trying to do 2 arms at one time is like trying to do a push down and a curl at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I do it now. I do it seated on the bench, but I also use the machine.
Yeah.
To warm up, I do like 4 sets on there, and I actually feel those.
But you can do that 1 arm at a time as well.
On the machine.
Now, I'm not saying you should never do 2-arm stuff. Okay, I'm just saying you're going to get a little less because of the splitting of the focus.
No, I'm going to try that, even on the machine.
Yeah.
They have pads, and then they have these handles that you hold on to. I push the handles around.
Yeah.
I don't want to hold
I just put my arm straight on it.
Exactly.
I just let the pad sit right there. Yeah.
And you know why? Because I have vision that I have dumbbells in my hand.
Right.
And so my mind says, oh, you're using dumbbells, we're going to work this way.
And the temptation is to use that handle, and as soon as you do, you use this as a rotation lever.
Yeah.
You don't want to use it as a rotation lever. You want this to be completely disconnected.
They put those handles there for a reason, and it's not a good reason to me. And there's another machine right next to it. I don't know if you guys have this in your gym, but you sit down and you have the preacher bench, but you have two handles. You turn them, right? You do curls with them.
Right.
I found that if I put them side by side and I run an easy curl bar through those handles and use the bar, I get much more out of it.
Right. By the way, speaking of curls, we all know what hammer curls are.
Sure.
I frankly think that hammer curls are better than straight palms up curls.
It's funny you said that. It's funny he said that. And I'll tell you why. Yesterday...
funny.
No. Yesterday I went to the gym. I'm kind of mixing my workout a bit now at my age. I go and I do what I feel I want to do. And today I didn't want to do anything. I rode the bike because I had that injection in my leg. But I'll go in and Albert Beckles told me, he says when he was in top peak, he did arms every day. 3 sets of bicep every day. Some sort of form.
That's interesting.
It is interesting. And he had a good bicep.
Well, yeah, but he would have had a good bicep no matter what.
Exactly. Three sets every day is a bit much.
Yeah, I mean, clearly you can do something every day if it isn't excessive.
Yeah, it's
right.
Not,
So
the 3 sets is not excessive.
It's not excessive. I mean, certainly less excessive than doing 6 or 9 sets.
Yeah, but I mean, if you do 3 sets every day and this is it, and you walk away, you're stimulating something. It's like a mechanic who works with wrenches every day on cars, wrenches. And he's got these huge forearms because he's using it every day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there are lots of ways that you can split this up, right? But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, what's the ideal combination of stimulation and rest?
Depending on the person.
Yeah, and it does change, and it does change within that person from time to time too.
It does change all the time. I mean, how many times I've gone in the gym and I get this terrific pump, and I say, what did I do today to deserve this pump? Because 3 days in a row after, I'll get no pump.
Yeah, because you don't have good karma.
That's what it is. And nobody likes me.
No, but what I was going to say was, you could probably get away with working a body part every single day for a few weeks.
Yeah.
And then at the end of 3 weeks, it's going to become cumulative and burn you out.
Burns you out, exactly. Yeah. But getting back to the curls, I sat and did dumbbell curls. Okay. Now, I remember the days when I did 65-pound dumbbell curls standing, no issue. I was 19 years old.
Right.
No problem.
Yeah.
And then I did days where I had the 45s, 55s all the time. And now when I go in the gym to curl, I use like 20s. And I see even Rich Piana's using 20s. I don't know why it changed to that level. I don't know why it's so weak.
We were just talking about this last night. I was at the gym and I was talking to a buddy and I said, isn't it amazing? You look at these 19 and 20-year-old kids and they're doing like 100-pound flat dumbbell presses. Mm-hmm. And you used to, right? Mm-hmm. But then when you get to be 50, 60 years old, you can't.
Well, at 65, 63, 60, I was still doing the 120s.
Yeah. Well, that's
and Albert's 84 and he was doing the hundreds.
Wow.
So, I mean...
but this guy I was talking to, he thinks it has to do with a reduced production of ATP as we get older. That's what he... Now, I don't know if that's true or not. That's just what he threw out. But it is interesting.
I think it's...
There's some biochemistry changes.
I think it's a reduced desire to do it.
Yeah.
Because my shoulders hurt and they crack like celery. And so when I get down there, oh, man.
Or an increased desire to do something else.
Exactly. So, what I'm saying, I did the curls.
Yeah.
Palms up. I did 6 reps. And then I thought, okay, I'll do 6 reps of hammers.
Yeah.
The hammers, I felt a lot more.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple things that are interesting about the hammer curl. First of all is, if you turn your palm like this, you're going to involve this brachioradialis much more than you would otherwise.
Right.
So it seems to me that nature sort of intended us to pull with that bicep in combination with some assistance from this radiobrachialis.
Okay.
If you go like this, it's entirely on the bicep. There's very little forearm in this. And what ends up happening is have you ever seen a power lifter tear a bicep during a deadlift?
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's always on that arm that has the palm facing away.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
It is never on the other hand, because this protects the bicep tendon and this exposes it.
Okay.
So if you can Google this, bicep tear during deadlift, I promise you, I've watched dozens of these. Every single one you'll see, it's the bicep that has the palm turned away. Okay. There's more load on that bicep tendon when the palm is away than when the palm is rotated a little bit. So you're going to get more form development and safer bicep development if you turn your palm a little bit.
I have another question since we're here talking about biceps. I'll use the preacher curl, I'll use a cable, or I'll use that handle I told you about, And I don't know because my shoulders hurt, my bicep tendon goes up, it starts to hurt a little bit. When I do them, I can't extend down all the way.
Nor should you.
I go right about to here, keep the tension and back.
Remember a while back we were talking about mechanical disadvantage? Well, that's when this bicep, which is connected to the forearm, isn't able to pull on this forearm perpendicularly, it's pulling at it from over here.
Yeah.
That load multiplies by a factor of about 7.
Okay. How about, though, if you're hanging one arm over the preacher bench, the dumbbell, I can extend all the way and come up. It's not a problem for me. Much easier than using the...
No, but that's what I'm saying is when you're standing upright, you're entering mechanical disadvantage right when your forearm lever is entering a zero resistance. That's why it's okay and safe and comfortable.
Okay.
But as soon as you create an angle in the preacher bench, now you're not starting with 0 anymore.
No.
So now you're starting with a load and combining mechanical disadvantage. And that's where the problem is.
Okay. So it's okay to do halves.
It's okay to stay out at 10%, 15% out of the bottom.
That's what I'm saying.
When you have a heavy load at the bottom.
Okay.
Absolutely. In fact, I would not encourage you to go to the bottom when you start off with a load.
Okay.
When you do a straight, you start with 0 load, and that's okay.
Okay. I always question that because I know I felt the difference.
And by the way, while we're on the subject of the biceps, you know, this is a myth that's been going on for years and years and years. This whole idea that as you curl, you pronate the hand, or supinate the hand, this is pronation, supination, that you build the peak. Nonsense.
You know who told me that?
Robbie Robinson?
Yep.
Well, look, Robbie Robinson had great biceps.
Yeah.
Right?
Still does.
And, you know, if he pronated, he could tell you that brushing his teeth would give him a bicep peak, and you could believe him.
True.
Right?
Very true.
Look at Larry Scott. Larry Scott had these full biceps, and they named the preacher curl the Scott curl, and millions of people have done the Scott curl and have never had Larry Scott biceps.
Right.
Okay, so it just doesn't work that way. But the bottom line is that the pronation, supination happens with a muscle that is called a pronator and supinator in the forearm. It's a muscle that wraps around the forearm and it actually turns. Now, the fact that you see the bicep peak when you do that only means that you're not involving the forearm as much anymore. But it's dangerous to have a heavy curl with a palm, as we were just talking about.
It's awkward.
Yes.
It actually hurts my shoulders.
So I make a point of never doing a regular straight palm up curl. At the very least, I'm going to have a slight inward rotation to my hand, if not a hammer.
Which brings me to this point. How many of you guys out there do standing barbell curls? Let's say you do it at the squat rack with the Olympic bar.
Right.
Because a lot of us start with that.
Right.
Now, there I used to use a lot of weight too. I mean, I saw someone recently do 245s on each side. Come on. Who can do that? That's a lot of weight.
Right.
I start with 5s.
Yeah.
I'll admit I start with 5s.
Absolutely.
And then maybe 10s and maybe another 10. But having a straight...
The bar weighs 45.
The bar's 45. But having a straight bar, for me, with the injuries that I've sustained, turning my hands out just hurts.
Very hard.
Just hurts. So I'll use a cambered bar.
And by the way, while we're on the subject of biceps, anytime that you're doing a two-handed curl, you're loading the lower back.
Oh, yeah.
So why do that? Why not do alternate dumbbell curl?
I love those.
And use only half the load on the lower back. Because as soon as you come up to here, this thing is pulling you forward.
Yeah, I would do those.
So if you want to go heavy curls, doing simultaneous is going to load you. If you have a bad lower back, not a good idea.
No, I just wondered because I know when I use the straight bar, it's uncomfortable.
On your wrist.
On my wrist.
On your hands.
Everything.
And on your lower back.
Yeah, so then when I use the easy bar, it works fine. Yeah. And then I've been told, well, the easy bar doesn't really work the bicep that well, but it seems to.
Oh, that's nonsense. It works it just fine.
Yeah, I think so too.
And by the way, you know what would be nice is, and we can even do this, you can actually chest support yourself on either an incline bench or an upright bench. In other words, you're standing and you got your chest, and you can do it to them because this is keeping you from rolling forward and protecting your lower back.
That's true.
It's a little bit of an isolation curl.
You know, years ago when I started training at YMCA in Bakersfield, and they had very, very little equipment, and the things were broken, and they're all over the floor, and they had a standing incline bench that we still have today. And I remember it was vinyl. It came out of one of those Jack LaLanne gyms.
Oh, yeah, right.
And the vinyl broke, so there's all rigid crack in the thing, and I put my arm over to do curls. I always cut myself on that thing, but I was doing at the time 65-pound dumbbells for these, and I'm not going all the way, but I'm doing it. And I thought, you know, I made some good progress at that age. I mean, even alternates with 65s, and guys, how do you lift so much weight? I don't know. It just happens. Yeah. But no more. Now I use the preacher. I use like 20s.
Yeah.
25s.
And cable curls are great too.
Cables are good. I went to cables for quite a while on the preacher bench and on standing from the bottom, and I did them for about a month.
Yeah. Were the cable coming from front of you?
Yeah. And then I went to the dumbbells the other day. I did a couple of different exercises, and I thought, man, these are heavy, because the cables made me lose strength for some reason. I don't know why I lost the feel of the dumbbells in my hand. You know, if you don't use the free weights all the time, you lose the feel for it. If I went to bench right now, I don't know if I could do 125 pounds. I did 455, right? But I haven't done it. And if you don't do heavy or barbell or dumbbell all the time to get the feel of that weight, pulling it down to the bench, you lose that strength for a while. You have to build it back again.
Well, you know, one of my favorite curls is when I mention cable curls, you know, we always think of the one single pulley that's in front of you. And you're curling them like this. What I'm referring to is the two separate pulleys that are actually right by your feet or slightly behind your feet. You know, these arms, the free motion machines that you can move in and out. So you bring them all the way down, close to, you know, as close as they can, shoulder width, ideally, and they're slightly behind you, which means that as you pull, you start off with a little bit of resistance because that cable is crossing your forearm sooner than gravity would. Right, and then if you hold the cable like a hammer, you do alternate like
but how do you find two cables that close together?
No, what I'm saying is you got to have that machine.
Oh, okay. Because most cables, one here and one there.
No. If the cable machine you have doesn't allow the cables to move that close, then you can't really do that exercise. At least not both arms at the same time.
I did cable.
You can do one arm at a time.
No, I did one arm for quite a while, and I felt it, and then you know, it's like
I said. This goes back to cross education.
That's like I said. If you have injuries, I mean, this arm will go fine, and then I go to this arm, the shoulder hurts, so that bicep isn't feeling what I want to feel, and then I have a pinched nerve.
Well, by the way, all the more reason why you should be doing separate arms.
I think so too.
Because otherwise, that will hold your strong arm back. Just do whatever each arm is capable of. And by the way, there's nothing says, I mean, a lot of people worry about doing a different weight. There's nothing you should worry about. I mean, do whatever you can with each individual arm.
I agree with you.
If you've got a weaker arm, do as much as you can comfortably with good form with that arm, even if it isn't as much.
It's not all about the weight. And there's a lot of young guys in the gym, they load up their a bar for traps. They'll have like 4 45s on each side. They're doing this. This is doing nothing. I can put one 45 on each side and do 20 reps all the way up and down, and my traps get much better.
But you know, some people say, so shouldn't I do extra sets and extra weight for my weaker arm so it'll catch up? It doesn't work that way. The bicep was going to grow, or whatever muscle it is going to progress at the rate it does. Doing extra, look, if you can do extra for that arm, you can do extra for this arm, and extra, you know it's not going to help this arm. Why would it help that arm?
It's true.
So the point is, do what you can. An intelligent workout with good recovery is going to maximize your progress.
Okay. So this is the situation.
And I do want to mention that.
Talk about this.
I was in a very nice little magazine last month. They did a little profile on me. And this month I contributed an article about the best lat exercise, which I believe to be the one-arm lat pull-in. And the magazine is called Passion Fitness Magazine. Their website is passionfitnessmag.com, www, of course, passionfitnessmag.com. So click on it and you'll see me demonstrating one-arm lat pull-ins and explaining the science, the biomechanics, why it's a better exercise than either chin-up or a pull-down.
It is a good movement. I've done it.
And it protects the shoulder joint. And it helps you get all the way into the lat contraction.
And you don't have to go heavy.
Well, I mean, let's put it this way. The weight you use feels much more efficient.
Sure.
You don't have to use as much to get as much out of it.
Exactly. So they can find that online?
You can find it online, And
I'll tell you what else you can find online.
What's that?
You can find my T-shirts.
Oh, you're kidding. I had a hunch.
I'm not kidding. You can find my Rick Drasin Originals, my original Gold's Gym shirt with my signature, the Golden Era Bodybuilding. This is a World Gym shirt. Actually, they sent me over the 4th of July, which I really like.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, World Gym, for doing that. But go to rickdrasinoriginals.com. There's a lot of shirts, tank tops, all my original designs.
Did you see my little posting? Which one was my favorite?
Which one?
The black one.
I love the black. I love
the black with the red.
I love the black.
That's my favorite one.
It's definitely a good one. And that's about it. And scratching my head thinking if I left anything out, but I don't think so. Thank you, Doug, for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you guys for watching Rick's Corner. We'll be back again. Doug will be back on again, and we'll see you next time. Have an awesome day.
drasin.com. He is the equalizer, baby. See you next time.